Yeah, you should be able to charge. It might pop up and ask who should log in with that mic is picking up a fair bit of noise. But it's not picking up game noise. Hello and welcome to the second FPS Plays. This is FPS Plays Bloodborne. I'm currently sitting alone in this room at the Games Institute in the University of Waterloo. My name's Rob Parker. I'm the commentaries editor for First Person Scholar. I'm told that there are others will be along soon, but currently I'm just sitting in a dark room watching the intro cutscene to Bloodborne. First Person Scholar has previously covered Souls games, specifically Dark Souls. We recorded a podcast with Western University professor Jonathan Bolter, who had written extensively apparently about Dark Souls 1. I'm told that that's going to be part of the subject, at least, or part of an upcoming we haven't had a chance to really record him or any of his thoughts on Dark Souls 2, but our essays editor, Jason talked about his experience playing Dark Souls 2 last year. Yeah, it's kind of weird to be in this room, even though I've been in a dark room before, talking into a microphone isn't really close. So, anyways, here we are, Bloodborne. We play offline, mostly because we don't have PlayStation Plus on the Games Institute account, and I personally don't own a PS4, so I'm going to go through the new creation process. Adjust ladder until man is visible and beast invisible. I don't even know. Okay. Looks like that's good for me. Normal. Sure. Oh. Yeah, I'll leave that on. I think that was on for one of the previous Souls games.
Oh, yes. Pale blood.
I do apologize if the mic picks up any of the audio from the
to the right
speakers.
place.
It's kind of not an ideal situation.
Yharnam is the home of blood ministration. You need only unravel its mystery.
No.
But where's an outsider like yourself to begin? Easy, with a bit of Yharnam blood of your own. But first, you'll need a contract.
Oh, great. It's actually squared on the projector screen. Oops. There we go. Yep. There's apparently a lady. Actually, writes it down. There we go. Yeah. Is he mature or is he aged? Do you think?
I think he's mature, and he was actually mature.
Okay. All right. Sure. There we go. Is he of milk toast origin? Do you have a troubled childhood? Professional? Fit for sleuthing or academia? So I feel like noble scion.
Yeah, that's what I will pick.
All right.
Noble scion.
Okay. Now, I've seen people do some really terrible things with these sliders. Oh, here we go.
I can pull the blank down. So
I'm sure. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Betsy should be along soonish. She's at the Sage
great.
event thing.
There's a charger.
Oh, great. Perfect. Okay.
You can turn the lights off if you want. But
It's not too bad to have a bit of light, just so we can kind of, yeah. Yep, that's good.
What else do you need?
I think that's it. I think we're pretty set. I have my Pepsi, but sure if there's. Cool. All right, I'm going to return to the header menu and then try that again. Just so we have some decent starting point. La la la. All right, welcome to FPS Plays Bloodborne.
Pale blood.
You might have heard some chatter before. That's us just kind of getting set up. This is the first event that we've done where
you've come to the right place.
We're actually in the Games Institute
Yharnam
space,
is the home
using the
of
PS4
Blood
here,
Administration.
and talking about a game
You
like the
need
night of its
only
release.
unravel its
This
mystery.
is incredibly timely as far as academic commentary goes.
But there's an outsider like
whether
yourself
it'll
to
be
begin.
particularly scholarly or not. That's up to
Easy.
you, I
With a bit
guess.
of Yharnam blood of your own.
My name is Rob Parker. I'm the commentaries editor for First Person Scholar.
You need a contract.
Along soon will, I think, at least be Betsy Bray. There might be a few other people from the Games Institute. It was kind of last minute throwing this together. Yeah, it was kind of like a last minute, like there's not a lot of notice given to the people at the Games Institute. There will probably be other streams going forward because they've put down the money to buy this game. So I will name my character after the Venerable Neil Randall, the director of the Games Institute at the University of Waterloo. It's mature. His origin, I would say, is a noble scion. Or her. Let's go with some purpley looking skin. I'm not going to mess around with the sliders too much. We could. What kind of build are we looking at here? Very true physique early. So in the previous Souls games, I typically made a blue person who was always smiling. I'd say that Neil's a early person. used to have a randomize. Oh, here we go. Classes. So I admit that I'm a bit concerned about the use of the steampunk aesthetic here. My experience, a lot of steampunk tends to be a lot of steam, but not a lot of the punk. Like, not a lot of the like questioning, sort of the authoritarian aspects of sort of the Victorian underpinnings that tend to get criticized in the same way that like cyberpunk is. So we'll see how that goes. Oh. Do you know if John Harris is still out yonder?
I don't know.
Okay. I'll poke my head out when Betsy swings by and see if I can wrangle some more people in here. Because it'd be cool to do some stuff with some of the engineering CS people.
Great.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go see.
That's Agata, by the way. She is the project manager of the Games Institute.
Good. All signed and sealed. Now, let's begin the transfusion. Oh, don't you worry. Whatever happens, you may think it all a mere bad dream.
Oh, great. I feel like werewolves were not were kind of underutilized in all the Souls games. I've read some of the reviews of Bloodborne, and it seems like this is a little bit more gothic, which I can generally get behind, but I still feel like the other Souls games were themselves quite gothic. You had, Tomb of Giants. So. Oh, great. Creepy looking ghost zombie baby. Two of them. Great. Well, that's unpleasant. So.
You found yourself a hunter.
Great. More interesting stuff. Oh, here we go. So I'm actually playing this through a projector right now, which is may or may not be a bad idea. Seek pale blood to transcend the hunt. A lot of the ways that we talk about, or a lot of the ways that the enthusiast press tends to talk about the Souls games, the other games that From Software has made, Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Dark Souls 2, have been in the context of like how difficult they are. And one of the things I've kind of wondered about is like how R1, okay. Is like to kind of interrogate what that means. So like how do you, like, what do we talk about when we talk about difficult games? Because the thing that we kind of too often forget with a lot of video games is that they are of themselves completely obtuse to most of the population, even the ones that are like well tutorialized and explain themselves. Okay. definitely has far more of a Victorian vibe than a lot of the other previous Souls games did. I'm actually kind of amazed at that run. As far as I understand, you can actually die soon.
Freeze! Oh, foul! Away! Away!
Ah! There we go.
You
Yeah, I think that was the intent. One of the editors for First Person Scholar wrote a thing about the way that games kind of handle death, and specifically pointed to From Software's approach to death as like, because of the way that they treat it, you're not reloading from a save game, you're just progressing forward. You're kind of it's less of this rupture from the game, and it's just part of the routine. So all of the previous so they've released multiple games that have been kind of loosely associated with one another. And this is kind of one that's not necessarily directly referred to as like Dark Souls 2 or Dark Souls 3 or whatever, Demon Souls 2, but is very much designed in the same vein. And they usually open with an unwinnable fight. Alright. Trick weapon, choose one. So yeah, the previous Souls games also had this option, the ability to leave messages for other players as you're kind of moving through the world. We don't have PlayStation Plus on this, so we won't be able to see other players' messages, but it's, yeah, that you know what that's there for. Okay. Must be somewhere. Oh, there we go. So yeah, as with the Souls games, there's one currency for experience points and also buying stuff, which is blood vials or blood echoes, as opposed to rituals, which is what it was previously. opening that section at some point. And let's just go back to this. So I was talking earlier about whenever people talk about the Dark Souls games, it's usually in terms of like how difficult they are. The mainstream press, the general reviews, are always in the context of these games are very hard, they're very difficult to kind of get through. And one of the things that I'm interested in kind of challenging is what does that mean when we talk about difficult games, especially since most console games themselves are kind of these alien constructs that unless you put in the time, they're all equally strange.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with the controller.
Yeah, like that's why when you look at Nintendo, the Wii with its motion controls and 2 buttons basically was so approachable for a lot of people because you knew what you were doing and you could demonstrate it to one person, they knew what you were doing. And so it's kind of the problem, like as games have gone like increased in prominence, they haven't necessarily found a way to get around that accessibility problem. And so I think is more talking about how the game or the Dark Souls games don't necessarily adhere to any specific template. They're all kind of like playing Dark Souls 1. Playing Dark Souls 1 didn't necessarily prepare you for Dark Souls 2. There were enough significant changes that you had to put in a lot of work to understand what was going on in that game. So, okay. Oh, there we go. And likewise, having a background in like one of the big things in the Souls games, one of the most common ways to get through those games was to equip yourself with a heavy suit of armor and then a shield and a weapon, and you have that shield up the entire time. It would defend against any kind of attacks. In this game, there's really no shield to speak of. Your combo requires a dodge around. Vial stuff that I'm picking up is a healing item. So yeah, where you'd be holding up a shield and kind of that way, instead of using the gun to stagger people and then deal with them. So yeah, replacing the bonfire that we had from previous Souls games would be the lance, which I guess really excited my character. I still have yet to encounter an NPC that just chuckles for themselves, which is really common in the Souls games, where they would laugh at kind of inappropriate moments. One new thing for Bloodborne is if you take a hit, there will be a bit of your life bar on the upper left corner will turn orange, and if you can manage to hit the person that just damaged you, you can get also the number of people you tend to encounter. Yeah, I'm not sure. The general storyline is afflicted with a plague. Yeah, there we go. The town is afflicted with a plague, so everyone is suffering from various mutations. There's werewolves, and I imagine there will be vampires at some point in this. Yeah, I'm not sure. They seem to be kind of zombified. As far as I understand, the storyline does kind of explain itself, but in weird, kind of fragmented ways. The designer for this is really well known for, hiding most of the lore in like descriptions of items that you find, and so you'll wind up finding like bits and pieces here and there that it's not really clear what they're supposed to do. And then you figure out at some point what it all means, parts of it. Or like me, you just go to YouTube and people have posted like 15-minute long rants about the lore of most people I've seen use this in like the faster moving but lower damage, but it's getting a lot more mileage out of it. Slower swing. So one of the ways that From Software tends to design their death mechanics is after you die, whatever blood echoes you have, drop on the ground where you died. And one thing that they've done in Bloodborne is make it so that, oh boy, there's a town meeting there. Direction. Oh, hey, all right. Oh, there we go. Peace. Back, you just lose them forever, so you just have to kind of keep going through that over and over again. Yeah, that's kind of, it tends to fall in, like I can see the argument for the game being described as frustrating, because it tends to be like very punitive with its mechanics, but yeah, in terms of the general, how do we talk about difficult games, because the difficulty level scales in a bunch of different ways, and if you just talk about this game as difficult, it's difficult for everyone, but usually when you talk about that, it's talking about this game is also difficult for hardcore gamers. Which is, as the default gamer as that core gamer, because at a certain point they're not necessarily going to be any demographic target, as you know, this next generation of consoles is much more expensive to develop for, so you need to make sure that every game is a hit. It's kind of it's kind of incredible that a game like this, which is a little bit weird, isn't everyone's tastes, is kind of being treated as a big release this year. Because typically you want it to be a sure thing. To develop a game on this scale, essentially, it's a lot of people die, because otherwise. There was a game that came out not too long ago, which I think was, I don't know if it was exclusive to the PS4 or not. It was called The Order. It was a very gorgeous looking game, but the problem was it kind of too light on everything else. So the bulk of its budget went into making everything look as pretty as it possibly could, but the general gameplay, like the moment-to-moment gameplay, was not as fun, but it was tedious, like it really didn't do. And I think that was kind of, it dashed a few hopes for people who were looking forward to the first big release of getting a console. It's kind of weird to see that a game like this is just going to alienate a lot of people. Kind of called up as potential hope for the... Oh, there we go. Oh, interesting. I thought that because I died trying to get those blood echoes back, that they were gone forever. But looks like they are still there. As long as I can kill the person that gave them. A lot. For Dark Souls, at least, I don't look at the box. Okay. For Dark Souls, emblazoned on the back of the box was "Prepare to die" in gigantic letters. So yeah, seeing the big capital letters "You died" has been a staple of the entire series, essentially. It's weird to talk about it in a series because it's never been necessarily pitched as that, but this style of like role-playing game that From Software has made very much has a style and an approach that has been, like, people have been trying to replicate it without luck. So yeah, there's a lot of repetition in this game. It's Michael Lutz is a game developer and is written for wrote a really great piece talking about sort of the affect, like the emotional experience of playing a video game, using like a term called stuplimity, sort of like a combination of the sublime and the stupid. essentially like acknowledging like, how do we talk about video games as these extremely like repetitive experiences, and like there's not a lot of language that necessarily encapsulates that. Like you have Miyamoto's talking about visual rhetoric, which is the game making an argument to you through the things that you repeat over and over again. And so lots was using that term to talk about the aspects of being frustrated with the game and like how over and over again. Try to get interested. That probably makes this a much easier. I didn't get into it, but there was a place you can like kind of pick how your voice sounded, and all the samples were basically just the person screaming as they died. So, did you need to run or anything like that? I don't.
Sorry?
I
Yeah,
don't.
no, I gotta go.
Okay, sure. Don't let me hold you up.
This is better than where I have waiting at home.
Oh, fair enough. Betsy should be along pretty soon. I think the thanks very much for letting us use the space and set everything up. Yeah. Yeah, I obviously won't get to the game in 2 hours, so I'm sure we'll have time to do another event or something like that with more people, with more warning, rather than like 6 hours warning. Okay, good. Sure. Yeah, it's one thing I would try to figure out. Well, I'm trying to figure out logistically is like how we would have sort of a revolving door of we had multiple people in here. I didn't really necessarily I didn't know if it made sense to open it to like the wide public, given the timing. But if you wanted to schedule something like that, I think that'd be really cool to have sort of people subbing in the head, especially people of different backgrounds, like the FPS people can sit there game theory or video game theory until the cows come home, but if it doesn't make sense to anybody else, then and also like having people like I've done game design in the past, so I'm looking at it with that lens, but having engineers and computer science people really cool. Thank you. That's. I look forward to dying an awful lot in this game. I've actually done all right so far. I'm kind of impressed. Dark Souls 2 came out last year. I'm by this point. I'm liking the.
You have to finish sort of this area before you move on?
Yeah, there's.
You kind of get reset a little bit.
Yeah, you get set back to the last one. There should be another event later on. Yeah, there should be a lamp not too far from here, I think. It's just a matter of getting there, which is kind of the crux of the game. So you're making these very slow incremental movements. And sometimes you don't get anywhere. And yeah.
Wait.
Need to turn down. sure that was... Yes. So I can go back down that little... That's that guy. Was not terrible. Yeah, he's... Oh, jeez. Yeah, it's a one-hit kill. Maybe didn't look like there was anything past him, so... Yeah.
Alright,
Thank you very much.
not a problem. Enjoy. Use the card.
Yeah, I have the cards, and I'll make sure that the doors are locked. And all right.
Enjoy.
Thank you. All right, I will continue to yammer awkwardly into this microphone. The load times for Bloodborne are kind of a bummer. Like this amount of I remember this kind of around the time Dark Souls 2 came out. If I recall correctly, on the PS3, this was roughly what you were expecting from a death. That's kind of a bummer. Yeah, what is? It's kind of been fragmented. It's been a bit weird. It's hard to kind of play this game and talk about it at the same time. Like I'm in a Beckett play right now, just waiting for Godot. I'm sure people will show up. It's possible. Very sad. Whatever. So, in keeping with that, I've also not been checking the chat. So if people are chatting. All right, Jason's leaving comments. Hello, Jason. Waiting into this. Nope. All right.
Away! Away!
I like that they actually seem kind of scared. Like there's something to this world that's... I was a little bit kind of worried that it was just going to fall into this general horror, steampunky stuff that you would expect, but so far I'm liking... I like the idea of like a locked up plague village. Makes me think of like Discipline and Punch a bit. Like that. I'm gonna grab a water. Oh. All right.
Lads, you've come on. You'd open the door on a night of a hunt. Away with you. Now. Lads, you've come on.
Ah, Jesus!
Now.
Yep. That's what I get for playing Making 89 doors. Play kill. Yeah, I feel like I need to retract that statement about I feel like I'm doing okay at this. Oh cool, we're getting comments. Yeah, I guess, there's been some work, I guess, to sort of talk about Excuse me. I'm also recovering from tonsillitis. So the fact that I've been talking for an hour and a half straight, or an hour so far, really not a good sign. Oh, what was I going to say? I can't tell if that's a one-hit kill because I'm hitting him in the head, or if it's a one-hit kill just because he's a weak enemy. Ah! I like to hit the enemies to recover health. That part's kind of neat. Alright. I still haven't quite got the hang of using the bullets. I think I got a bit squeamish when I ran out that last time. Can't knock on this door. Which, given what happened the last time I knocked on the door, that's maybe a good thing. The rule with these games is never just walk up a blind corner and walk directly towards the shiny white thing, because typically there's someone. Alright. Oh, it's not like a one hit to recover all of that health. You have to do multiple hits to get that damage back. Interesting. These coffins are unbreakable. I'd be interested to see, like, what From Software based the swing speed off of the saw blade. Like what? Like clearly they have these assets from Dark Souls and Dark Souls 2 and whatever. I wonder if I'd be interested to see how they designed the swing speed on sort of the starting weapons. Because as it stands, like the swing speed on this is reasonably fast, but like R2 attack kind of reminds me of like the general speed of the Claymore from Dark Souls. I wonder if there's kind of a holdover code from that. Or at least DNA shares with what it is. There was a dog there too, which. I remember the first time I ventured into the lower Undead Burg and encountered those plague dogs, and that was incredibly frustrating. and walking through the burning streets. I feel like all of this is scattered because there's no one here to keep me on track. Which maybe that's how this first stream of Bloodborne should be. Just some person in a room going slowly mad with the repetition of dying. One of the things I really liked about Megan Blythe Adams' essays, Spectacular Mortality, is kind of paying attention to the way that games treat player death as either like a fracture between, you know, this level of immersion. Like you were no longer allowed to identify with the player character because it has died. So, you know, like, one example she used was Skyrim, where when you die, it cuts to third-person mode and shows you this beautifully choreographed, often maybe frustrating or maybe glitchy cutscene of you dying. And you're going to call out the Souls games in part because of their punitive approach. The way that basically death is, instead of being like ritualized, is kind of it's not given any special treatment really. If you get the you die, that's just part of the game. And I think that's part of why things continue to be an object of curiosity is because they're inconsistent. Like I think that is the thing that I kind of ranted about on Twitter before is one of the best ways for a game to be kind of knowable and understandable is for it to be consistent. So like the Call of Duty game, like a first-person shooter game along the lines of Call of Duty, like almost all first-person shooters on consoles function very much in the same way. They follow a generally agreed upon control scheme, in part because they want the same level of success as the Call of Duty games. So you see a lot of, you know, like left trigger to pull up the iron sights, right trigger to shoot. And there are slight variations on that, but you can, I mean, in some games there's even the option to just switch to that control scheme above all others. And even the way, you know, like we saw here earlier on, where you were supposed to die. You're not even given a weapon until you die in this game. You're not even able to really defend yourself in a reasonable way until that's one of the first things you do. And what happens when you die at that moment is not the same as the way you die every other time after that. As far as I understand from things that I've read about this game, there are some exceptions. I think there are certain enemies that if you die from them, or if they manage to kill you, you wind up in a different place, which sounds fascinating. And I think that's kind of why the Souls games tend to be mysterious, is they behave in often erratic and obtuse ways. In a way that sort of recalls maybe the first time I play a video game. Swimming like an idiot. God. Those torches really do a lot of damage. I was in the middle of a thought and it went away because I died. Because I was trying to fight and talk at the same time, which is great. It's a delightful thing. I guess the Souls games are kind of inconsistent. Things will happen, things will change subtly, and they don't point you to it. There's no pip appearing on your UI. There's no voiceover. There's no, you know, like hold right mouse button to see the thing that we're trying to show you, a la like Bulletstorm or whatever. Things kind of change subtly about the world, and if you're not paying attention, which doesn't necessarily matter, but you know, this happened. I think Dark Souls did it, in my opinion, the best. Although I guess Demon Souls did have that one NPC that was that really is just a kill, isn't he? And I think that has a lot to do with it. Like one of the. So I've been back and forth with Mark Johnson, the developer for Ultima Ratio Regio. He's also starting to get into a little, like games writing and stuff. He did a really great talk at CGSA last year about semiotics of the world. And one of the things that I kind of liked about what he was talking about was sort of semiotically speaking, what you understand about, like if you understand one roguelike's bestiary or whatever, that just went right through that guy. That doesn't seem right. This guy's got ate my blood. Okay, that's what that means. So that's kind of cool. Like your blood stains get eaten by certain monsters that kill you, and when you come back, their eyes are glowing, and you have to kill them to get your blood back. Rather than, you know, if it were a boss fight, you would have to. If it were a boss fight, you'd have to like go back in and run around and get your thing. Oh.
Are you that outsider? Well, sorry, but I don't want anything to do with you. Trot along, will ya?
Will do. I was going to talk about a game and play it, especially a game like this. I still haven't encountered any NPCs that just laugh inappropriately, which is really upsetting to me, because that was what, like, there's a half-composed paper in my head, like referencing Mikhail Bakhtin, and his talk about, you know, laughter and genres, the cheerful and annihilating laughter. And I always felt like that was one of the best things, especially from Dark Souls, although it did carry over into Dark Souls 2, and in Demon Souls 2. And all of those games was the really inappropriate laughter from NPCs, the cheerful and annihilating laughter. And it was always just vaguely threatening to me, in a way that I could really kind of get behind. Like it contributed to the world, like the way that the NPCs delivered their dialogue and the way that they kind of behaved was like it kind of reinforced a lot of the mystery of the game in a really great way for me, at least. So I'm kind of amazed that they kind of pulled back from that. There's scholarly cussing. I'm starting to regret not getting that pistol. I feel like having a bit of range on this. Alright, how about we do this? Fuck off. Nope. Nope. Where are you all coming from? Go back to your homes. This is a plague. Sweet mother of God. What? Get away. Really? That torch. That torch gets me every time. Alright. If you'll permit me one quick break. I'm going to type into this computer and hopefully summon some FPS plays people. Alright. Set for help. Bridging. Back to the top. Nice. I will say this, this gives me far more like a Bloodborne vibe than the starting area for Dark Souls 2. Maybe that's just wishful thinking on my part. Oh, jeez. I'm already dead. Stop trying to light me on fire. Like I feel like I guess the term that I'm looking for is I feel like this area has the same feeling of density and kind of claustrophobia that the Undead Burg did compared to Dark Souls 2, where the starting area was this open forest area, which was absolutely really cool. Like there was some really interesting stuff going on there. I'm kind of bummed out. Like I was partially tempted to sign in with my own account on this PS4 because I have PlayStation Plus and watch as the bloodstains kind of washed across here. Because I feel like that's the one thing that's missing here is there's that lack of I'll be interested to see if there are going to be the same kind of covenants that there were. Like there's a lot of really interesting approaches to that stuff in Dark Souls 2 in particular. I mean, there's still the Great Lord in Dark Souls, and I have to admit that I'm not necessarily an expert on Demon Souls. I'm about halfway through that game. I haven't had a chance to really finish it off, which I'm not going to apologize for because those games are tough. And I feel like in a lot of cases, people that are really fond of these games are fond of their first contact with the game. Like fond of this genre or whatever. Rather than being able to say that one is better than another. I think they're all very interesting experiences from a variety of different perspectives. I've not played any of the Kingsfield games. I don't know that they necessarily stack up. I feel like Chris Lawrence has, one of the people from the Games Institute, who may or may not show up. Who knows? The laptop screen is not asleep, so I don't know. Oh, yeah, dude. Nope. What are we looking at here in terms of time? 7:43. Every time! That's right. Okay. answer. Like, I wonder if there's a way to just run past everything. I wonder, like, that's... I'm not ashamed to say it. I totally ran past a lot of stuff in Dark Souls 2. So... Nope. Out of here. Oh, alright. Yeah, I'll take that. I really like that they seem to be, like, more scared of me than I am of them. Like, they were flipping these, like, I'm waving this torch at you so that you'll go away. I'm going to check while this is loading. All right. Once again, this is first-person scholar. If you're just kind of joining or whatever, we're oh god, I memorized our party line. We write about video games from a generally scholarly perspective, but in particular, this is part of the FPS plays. Kind of our approach to trying to do kind of what happens if you try to do scholarly commentary over top of a video game. And in particular, what happens when you try to do that with Bloodborne is you die an awful lot, and then you forget what you're talking about, and so kind of nobody is satisfied. Nobody is satisfied here, except for me. I'm actually having a really good time. I'm really enjoying this, and I'm also playing this on a huge projector, which I was expecting to cause for me, but it's not been too bad. I really should change that setting. Right, so that super brutal stab thing that I did is right next to the guy while he's stunned from that gun. You can get up in their business and do some real rotten stuff. Yeah, it's my name's Rob Parker. I'm the commentaries editor for First Person Scholar, alongside Emma Vossen. I believe Jason Howerlack is kind of in the chat, keeping an eye on things. He's our essays editor. I've been assured that one of the other FPS plays people will be coming. I scheduled this during a graduate event, like a graduate student event thing, and I really like it's a cool with free beer and free food. So I do not blame them for. Oh, nope, didn't get me that time. I'm just gonna savor this because every single time I've walked past that, this goober has hopped in from there and attacked me, taking me down a peg. Yeah. Like I killed her.
Away! Away!
No. Look, I would go away if you guys would get ever fly away. Taking all the damage. The heal animation is much faster. Alright? Alright. Yep, that's the proper response. Some of those will let you see your bloody ass and not leave. Oh. Blood vials. I have way too many blood vials. Also too much. Hey, what's up?
Away!
Yep.
Away!
would go away, but you were in my way. Now I'm just reciting half-remembered Alice in Wonderland. That's are good. Yeah, first-person scholar. We're scholarly, but we're not scary people. Just a heads up, like I'm kind of off the cuff here, mostly because freestyling about video game theory while also playing super game. I shouldn't have decided to. Those dogs over here. Bloody hell. Alright. I should have just run down that alley. I think that's what I'm going to do the next run. Rather than try to scrap it out and beat all of those guys, I'm going to try to run through the town meeting. See what that brings. Yeah. All right. All right. 7:51, 8:30, or until my voice dies, and then I just play on in silence. Oh, let me tell you, tonsillitis, not a good time. I am not taking any antibiotics yet. Should really deal with that. I feel like apropos to this, and then also playing Bloodborne, a game without plagues. Alright, let's just do this. Yep. Hey, hi, what's up? How you guys doing? I don't have any stamina now. Okay, there we go. Yep. Bye. See ya. I'm out. Is that a lamp? Nope. Something else. Okay. That's not what I need. Okay. Yep. Yeah, no. Hey, what up, birds? A lot of birds. Gigantic fucking crows. Okay, I'm not. I want to say that there has to be something around here. Aside from angry dudes. Right. There's that body over there. I seem to be alive and not mauled. What's cold blood do? Is that what that said? Alright. Oh, there we go, they found me. The hunter has become the hunted, apparently. Yeah, I had a whole bunch of questions, but I'm not really remembering any of them because they were all predicated on the idea that there would be someone else playing or someone else talking into this microphone. Yeah. Sorry about that. Chris Lawrence was messaging me on Facebook asking me how Bloodborne is. So, Chris, if you're listening to this, you're a monster. There, I just sent him the link. So hopefully Chris gets to it in this amount of time. Alright, why don't... Okay. Yeah. What if I just did this?
Are you that outsider?
Yes, I am. Thank you for noticing. Alright, let's try this run again. Hey guys. What is that? Stop shooting me! That is not the sound that I expect a crow to make. I picked up that thing over there. I could just pebble that dog. Yep. That's the soul's ass AI. That's some werewolf action. I ran with you before. Oh, jeez. Oh god. What am I doing? This is not how you play a Souls game. 'Cause I'm an academic. Okay, fine. Okay, there's a fog door there. Good. Not that I'm necessarily even going to survive long enough to do anything with that. But, okay, I have found the first boss. Oh. Okay. Now I'm back in the Hunter's Ring. And there's this lady here.
Hello, good hunter.
Hey, what's up?
I am a doll, here in this dream to look after you. Honorable hunter, pursue the echoes of blood. and I will channel them into your strength. You
Well,
will
if Neil
have
Randall
these,
needs anything, Neil Randall needs
and
strength.
I will be here for you.
Because clearly Neil Randall's been
to
destroyed
embolden
by all
your
of those
sickly
monsters
spirit.
in that town. Oh, perfect.
Very well. Let me stand close.
Okay, I have no blood echoes. There's a lot of blood tinge in there. Which... Character's name. Yes, Jason, I did name this character after Neil. Total value, okay. Total number of held blood echoes, which are 0. Insight. Needed to ring special bell, but induces frenzy. Alright. This is probably the most comprehensive I've seen the tooltips in a Souls game. Like, everything is pretty clearly delineated, like, hey, by the way... Oh,
Farewell, good hunter.
wait.
May... Welcome. What is it you desire? Did you speak with Gehrman?
No. Scareman.
He was a hunter long
Oh,
ago.
wait, was that the guy that
but now
was
serves
transfusing
only to
me and
advise
eventually
them.
turned into a werewolf?
He is obscure, unseen in the dreaming world. Still, he stays here, in this dream. Such is his purpose.
As you do.
Ah, the little ones, inhabitants of the dream.
Okay.
They find hunters like yourself, worship and serve them. Speak words they do not. But still, aren't they sweet?
Yeah, they're adorable. They remind me of the tiny skeleton babies from Tomb of the
The
Giants.
little ones.
All right. That's enough. Central Yarn. All that those. One of the other things I was thinking about in terms of, platform studies, like kind of trying to link that to other things. So platform studies is this general series of books that Ian Bogost and Nick Montfort started to kind of talk about technical affordances the first book I think was the Atari 2600, but there's been one on the Wii. I read a really great paper that was a platform studies approach to Twine, which I really fascinating read. It was given at a DIGRA conference a while ago, and I really hope the author of that paper has kind of decided to expand on the names of the author offhand. If I recall correctly, they were targeted by Gamergate because of they were talking with DIGRA about Twine. But that paper itself has informed a bit of my own work. But then one thing that I find a little interesting is talking not necessarily just about the technical aspects of a system, but also the paratexts and the rhetoric that surrounds the release of a text. So for me, I guess, expanding platform studies would also be looking at pre-conferences where they announce these new consoles. All right, I'm just gonna try to book it to that boss because now I know to expect it, and I have more blood shards than I need, and the gun's not going to be useful on it, so getting help. Back up. Stairs and down this hallway. And inexplicably I have souls. I guess hypothetically I could, now that I've unlocked that doll person, I could grind for blood, as you do. Yeah. That was a terrible decision. Alright, new plan. Get some blood, level up. And repeat as necessary. Yeah, platform size. So like part of it would also ideally include how the announcement of the PS4 console, but like linking that stuff to other discussions within game studies, like the division between play and other aspects of our life. Daniel Joseph just posted what seemed like a really solid intro to his dissertation, looking at sort of the delineation between play and labor, and specifically using Steam to talk about that. It's a really, really smart, like he's kind of using Marxism to get to it, but it seems like a really smart approach to that stuff. And, we get a bunch of game studies people in a room and ask them to start talking about, how do you define play, or how do you define games? And, well, if you asked me to define a game, I would just stop talking to you, but talking about how we culturally understand play, how we understand work, and kind of putting those two in this sort of weird binary, even though they are often, exploited to very to similar ends. Like you look at gamification, basically is a mix of those. What happens when I pontificate and also wander around this game? Sort of, you get game studies people together, and there's a lot of really great debate about the nature of play, and how do you talk about ludism? Is it just a collection of rules, or the magic circle from Johann Huizinga and whatever? And then you turn on the streams from E3, and you see that delineation being legislated by corporations. Like you basically see, with Microsoft's Xbox One, like their idea of what it means to play encapsulated in the Xbox One, the affordances that it has. And you can see, the pushback that they wound up having is like the things that they were talking about, having cable, being able to feed your cable through your Xbox isn't really that beyond the pale, but the way that they framed it really didn't connect with people as far as they understood their approach to play. Even though, the idea of always on online, always on online connections, a lack of being able to sell you games is very much like a part of Steam. Valve's entire business model is you kind of need that internet connection, and you need to be able to connect to the internet, and you don't own any physical copies of those games, and they do have really steep discounts, which is useful, but Valve also had to put in a lot of work to build that consumer trust that Microsoft hasn't. Especially when you look at the fact that Microsoft was trying to sell that in the guise of technical hardware, right? Like at a certain point, we're still talking generation. People that are paying attention to it are still going to be thinking in terms of generations. So what happens when all these digital games that you buy are, the servers get turned off at sundown? The biggest concern for me is the PlayStation Vita. Almost every game I own for it is digital, which I'm fine with because, for the most part, I don't really want to own a whole bunch of Vita cartridges, and there have been a lot of really great deals and stuff like that. But still, I need 800 blood, and that guy has a bunch of mine right there. Boy, I guess I didn't need to do that. But... right, I made my sweet up dog. So yeah, I guess part of I'm really interested in reading you know, obviously, like, platform plays tend to be written at the end of the life cycle. And again, I got so, you know, like, who knows what a platform size book is going to look like for this. But, like, you know, I'd be interested in seeing, like, provisional approaches to that. Yep, that was a terrible decision. It was so close to 800. And is looking at, you know, the platform exclusives, right? So Bloodborne is a PS4 exclusive. During the 2-ish hours I've been playing this game, or almost 2 hours I've been playing this game, it definitely is making a really convincing argument that I should probably go out and get a PS4 of my own. I mean, any sort of platform studies approach to this generation of consoles, like the Xbox One and the PS4, would be remiss in not talking about Destiny and the launch of Destiny, where, you know, review copies weren't sent out. So instead you had a lot of, like, enthusiast press sites streaming that game and like, kind of trying to talk critically over it, as I am trying to do right now with Bloodborne. And the problem with that is really, like, what it puts the like the rhetorical power generally back in the game's hands, because AAA games are nothing if not spectacle. Like, this game is, like, I'm not afraid to say it, like, this game is fucking gorgeous. I think it looks beautiful. I love the animations. I love the realization of the world. You know, I like getting into fights and coming away covered in blood, and, like, you know, that's a grimy looking face in the background. Like, this game is, there's a lot of spectacle here. And the Dark Souls game, like, you know, that boss fight was this panicky run around of me trying to keep alive in the boss fight. It's still, like, those things are, you know, the grotesque body of the monsters in those boss fights. Like, there has to be a paper in that one. I'm just amazed no one has done that. The linkages between Bactine's approach to, you know, laughter and the grotesque body, it, like, kind of writes itself at a certain point. 346. Is there someone up here? There was someone. Oh, what else? Like, that was, I guess, you know, you look at the pre-orders for Destiny and, you know, it having the dubious honor of being, like, the worst game that people couldn't stop playing. That was a huge win for the publishers, was having in this situation where, like, they had so many pre-orders, it didn't matter what the press was saying about that game, because that's right. Because essentially, like, they'd made, you know, a huge amount of money already, but also the general aspect of, like, the best thing you can probably do is show people this really cool game and all of its fancy graphics and, you know, all their fantastic art design. And unless you are really, really good at talking over a video game and also playing it well, which I am clearly not, but as is abundantly clear, what happens is kind of the spectacle of the game sort of takes over and makes its own argument, rather than, you know, a print article or whatever, which is why I always find it interesting when, you know, people advocating for objective reviews and somehow advocating that, you know, YouTube streamers or, like, people like Total Biscuit are more objective or more reliable or more honest, when, you know, at the height of the Gamergate stuff, like, they really didn't even bat an eye when it came out that, you know, the Shadow of Mordor people were basically offering deals to YouTube streamers if they would just feature their game. It worked out. Like, it also didn't matter because a lot of people think that that game is really great and interesting, and I'm inclined to agree. But it's still kind of a huge question in terms of ethical reasons. What does it mean to review a game? And what does it mean to talk about a game? When in most cases people have already kind of made up their minds, and they're just looking for someone to agree with them and reinforce this, not insignificant. Like this is a non-trivial amount of money to go out and get a game. Again, I was extremely fortunate that the Game Institute is okay with footing the bill for this game, and has also gone out and gotten the PS4. But otherwise, I'd just be sitting on my hands because as an adult, I have other shit I need to worry about, like food and shelter and all that nonsense. It doesn't help that I'm also a graduate student, so I also pay my tuition while I'm at it. God damn it! So yeah, I mean, I frequently talked about Gamergate as sort of being that weaponized confirmation bias. Sort of the fact that people aren't really looking for... It's sort of like I don't want politics in my game, and it isn't necessarily like it's not wanting politics in your games, it's just I don't want politics in my game. Which, I've seen that charge leveled against people who are like, this is my liberal values, so therefore I don't like it. And maybe some mileage out of that, but yeah, it's kind of a mess. When I'm trying to deal with Ian Bolos when he says, video games are a mess, and the technology is kind of a mess, and it's so much of PR and marketing goes into hiding the fact that shit never works the way we want. Or rarely does. And it's still selling you that potential rather than, the actual reality. There's this guy right here who is a reliable source of business. 538. Okay, I need souls. Need blood. Ah! The Walk-On seems a little bit less generous this time around. Just gonna... Oh. Not even close. That's right. How do you like for now? What am I gonna do? Every time I go over there, I'm getting jacked now, which is frustrating. I could just try to run past everybody, but I've done that before. It's probably far more... I can't tell if there are multiple guys just spawning and walking through here, or what's going on. Alright, there's someone back here. Homes. From? Now I'm covered in blood. $778. Now, if I recall correctly, I go down here, in here, should be a werewolf. No? That was just a non-respawning dude. Okay. Oh boy. Alright, well I'm alive. Nope, okay. Closed by a device. I haven't encountered the same level of like mysterious mechanics that I've seen in the past. I keep hearing that bell ringing in the background. And we're not playing online, which I suspect would be like the Belfry gargoyle bell that used to ring if someone else rang it online close to your area. Let's actually just grind. I'm going to take a quick look at the comments. Oh, Cypher of Tyr. Thanks for watching. Oh boy, what are we at? 8:19. 10 more minutes. All right. 778. I'm going to level up. And yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna kill somebody. I don't know why. I don't understand the focus. And maybe it's because the load times are what they are. But the actual focus on, like, you have to go back to this hub world to spend your souls. I feel like that's an odd step to double down on, like when Dark Souls kind of just let you do it wherever. I've seen the game kind of get knocked for that a little bit in the past. And I'm inclined to agree with people that are like, hey, just let me level up. Or the lance. Sorry. It's going to be hard to kind of break myself into using the same terminology, as is probably really clear. Break myself into using that Souls-specific terminology in this game. Because there's enough different here that it's really interesting to me. I will be kind of let down if there is the same weird... There's the same level of weird kinds of... online covenant type things. My last covenant. That's what I get. No, son, you don't get to, like, amble about. Oh boy. Alright. Go team. 980. Before I die, because I will, because I have enough souls to level up, or blood echoes. Oh, God damn it, I did not want to go down here. Well, maybe I'm killing a few more. Or just... I'll stick with that. I didn't go back for that axe dude because he seemed to be a real rotten customer. And back up here. All right. What if there were multiple people on the street?
Welcome home, good hunter. What is it you...
I have to button through that dialogue. Which,
Very well.
admittedly,
Let me
I like talking to NPCs. Don't get me wrong. Ah, what should I do? Well, it's a Souls game, so strength, really, you can't go amiss there. I should take a look at the Bath Messenger. Pebbles. Alright. Alright, let's see what else there is. No materials, no key items. Right-hand weapons. Nothing. No. Oh. That's a lot. Alright, well now I have a goal. I should save up for the Yarnum trousers and gear. I want a tricorn hat. Chalices. Yeah, that was another thing that I'm really interested in checking out. Is those I think are going to be useful. Is the chalice dungeons, which seem to be like kind of randomized dungeons that you can kind of build by combining items in a chalice or something, and you can then share those with your friends. I don't know. Some of that stuff sounds really, really cool. There's some really interesting ideas coming out here. I like the continuing emphasis on procedurality that's kind of come out. The like sort of randomly generated expeditions in Monster Hunter 4 it was a really welcome change to just having the static thing that you had to go out there and attack. Especially because you could go through there and find treasure and a bunch of other stuff, and it was kind of this weird, mysterious sort of avenue for discovery. Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't know. We're at 825. I wonder how many souls I get for just killing those guys. I wonder if I can get that tricorn hat. Probably. Hey, well, yeah, the lock-on is not as generous as it used to be. I defaulted to Dark Souls controls and hit L1 to raise my shield, which was not there. I was watching the Giant Bomb stream earlier today. I was listening to the Giant Bomb stream while I was watching Tony stream the game, which is why I think I did it as well as I did in the beginning parts of this, because I knew that you had to go pick up weapons and equip them, whereas Tony was running around trying to beat that werewolf with his bare hands and dying an awful lot. Done. So that's 347. I can totally get that tricorn hat. I just gotta pop these dudes. What else? Ah! I like the animation for using that blood sword. Like it's kind of like, oh Christ! I got a jab in my leg. I also like that farming is still a thing in this game. Not that I really had to worry about it, like Dark Souls 2, all it did was encourage you to do more online stuff, and I really, really like the co-op. I really, really like the co-op in Dark Souls 2 and 1 as well. So, all I did was go and do a lot of OGs. Okay. Hey, what up? All I did was a lot of co-op and like helping deal with bosses, which was great because I'm really bad at fighting bosses in this game or any of these games. So getting that early warning of what, like, kind of having like a low impact way to preview the bosses, which is potentially a cowardly way to play this game or these games. I will totally cop to using facts and whatnot. I can appreciate people wanting to have that pure experience or whatever. I personally, I liked the experience of having Dark Souls 2 at launch and playing through it kind of when no one knew anything that was going on, but I got Dark Souls 1 like almost a year after it had been out.
Welcome home. What is it
was really kind of cool to see all of the stuff that was that the community had already figured out. All right, give me that tricorn hat. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, look at those blue numbers. Hell yeah. Check out that dapper fool. Neil Randall is styling now. All right, I'm going to call it there now that I have this sick tricorn hat. I didn't even play with the hair at all. I done goofed with this character. Oh, should I try to kill? No, I won't try to kill her. I'm sure someone has already tried and has already like YouTubed that, so I'll just go and watch the video. This has been FPS Plays Bloodborne. We'll probably do this again at some point, mostly because I don't own a PS4 and I want to play more of this game. I'm Rob Parker. I'm the commentaries editor for First Person Scholar. That's http://www.firstpersonscholar.com/. Please continue to consider, submitting or checking out the site. We are very interested in kind of very thoughtful criticism of video games. It doesn't necessarily need to be explicitly, you don't have to be citing Heidegger and a whole bunch of philosophers in it. If you are just trying to get started in games writing, or you want to write, just a very thoughtful critique that isn't necessarily a review of a game or anything like that. Or if you want to try your hand at a different approach to the review genre of writing, like that would be really interesting. By all means, get in touch with us. We're on Twitter at FPS Weekly. I'm at Robot Parking. We don't really have a separate stuff, but reach out if you're interested. Give us a follow. I don't know. Check out the site. Read some cool stuff. I think Bloodborne's a really interesting approach. I have to do some thinking. If nothing more, the Souls games are an invitation to think very philosophically about. Oh, is this about the RPG genre?
You must be.
Okay, so this guy does the aha, like kind of.
Welcome to the hunter's dream.
This will be your home for now.
This will be your home for now.
Damn it! I wish I'd seen this before.
Gammon, friend to you hunters. You're sure to be in a
He kind of reminds me of the dude that we showed in that chair.
Don't
Dark
think
Souls
too
2,
hard
the
about all of
sorceries.
this. Just go out and kill a few beasts.
For your own good.
It's for your own good.
Okay.
It's just what hunters do. You'll get used to it. This was once a safe haven for hunters. A workshop where hunters used blood to enhance their
Check out those textures. Those fancy
flesh.
textures.
We don't
yeah.
have as many tools as we once did, but you're welcome to use whatever
this is
you
the
find.
first game I've played extensively on a PS4. So for the record, the PS4 controller is terrific. You already know this.
This was once a safe haven for
Heaven's
hunters.
Garden, which is the same garden. And is there anything else up here? No. Oh, hey. Workshop. Fortified weapon. Using bloodstones. I got a bloodstone, didn't I? No, I did not. Repair weapons. Okay. Oh. Shit. So of course there's durability in this game. That'll be something I need to worry about next time. Or someone will, who winds up... Oh, sword. Okay. Bloodstone shard. So I need a couple of those, I guess. Yeah, that's right. Stepping on your books. Making a mess. Oh, yeah. Take that, Gerhard. Spy with insight. This path appears to be linked to the nightmare, but there are no messengers. Sure. Good to see they kept the same, like, walking through grass sounds that Dark Souls 2 had. Yeah, I guess that's it, you know, first-person scholar FPS plays. Thanks, everybody. Oops, that was not the right button. Have a good one.